Today I'd like to be really intimate to you and share something with you that I'm quite ashamed of. So the subject is shame, which I think is really important, and it's such a counterpart or a theme within intimacy, because it's exactly there where we can prove and where we can walk the talk if we are intimate to someone. Because intimacy is really to state and make known, to speak out, to reveal what is hidden from within you that you haven't shared so far. Becoming more and more unraveling and getting to your truth and become really authentic of who you are, not just in the moment, but as a full being. So I tapped into shame big time. I was engaging with someone and it got really heated and it got really juicy. And what is important is that afterwards, as I was in the experience, I encountered a real strange feeling in my stomach. It was like a heavy stone that became bigger and bigger and wanted me to stop whatever I was doing. And it was like a handbrake. It was like two blocks that go onto your experience just like that and halt it to a grind, or grind it to a halt, right? Till I suddenly stood there and knew, wow, now I have encountered shame. And now I'm in this big pot or a big hole filled of shame up to here, and I can't really speak. My throat is closed. That stone in my belly is there, and it's like, oh my God, now I have gone beyond my boundaries of my beliefs, my ethics, my morals, and suddenly there it is, shame. So I knew that, and I could well handle it. So I proceeded with whatever was going on. I still sensed something. I still stood intimately. So that means I kept revealing of who I was, even in that moment. And then I had to sit down and face myself, and had to unpack what has come out of the experience. And I had to hold myself within that, the emotions that were there, all the judgments, all the parts that I rejected from myself and even had abandoned, and just have rediscovered that they're still part of me. And I had to face them. And it took me quite a while. It took the whole day. And it was an incredible experience, because during that day, during that time of processing that shame, nothing worked. I'm not good anyway in focusing on something else if I have something going on. But so I stood in it, and it was like putting a big meal into the oven for 4 hours or 6 hours, and you cook it slowly. It becomes really tender, and you become tender, and your heart melts, or all the boundaries around your heart, they melt, because I know now how to hold myself in compassion and being empathic to myself, and saying, hold space for myself to be present, because I knew it was authentic and it was from my heart. So I melted, and I got slowly cooked in that shame. And then, of course, as Brené Brown said, like, for shame to exist, it needs 3 things, right? It needs secrecy, silence, and judgment. So the judgment I was being able to clear with myself, of what I actually held judging, or what I was judging. And I accepted that and acknowledged that. And it's like, yeah, I judged that. Being around a sexual theme, being a spiritual person, it's like this split to create to be in both worlds, to be human but also to be spiritual, and all the prejudgments of that you couldn't be both. that you had to be one or the other. So the judgment was not the problem, because I didn't judge it and the other person didn't judge it either. Then there was still the secrecy and the silence. So I had to break that. So I got back into contact, I went back into relating to the other person. And then there was the true moment of becoming intimate once more in an even greater stage. And for me, there was a clear goal to eradicate all the shame that was there, right? So if I release the judgment, if I release the silence and the secrecy from it, and openly talk about it to be intimate, then it should die. It should not be survive or be able to survive anymore. And therefore it's out of my life. And I feel better. That stone in my stomach is gone forever. So I did that. We had a long discussion about it. And of course, the judgment, it was all on my side. For the other person, what happened, there was nothing there to be judged. It was fully authentic. It was in the heart, in the spur of the moment, and it was beautiful and it was incredible. So the judgment was all on myself. And I said, like, look, I just need to communicate that. I just need to stop the silence and stop the secrecy and say as it is. And then I can feel it now in my body. My body is vibrating. Oh my God, what are you saying? You're laying yourself open so far. And but that's exactly the moment where this happens. Like, to be intimate right now, my shame is to talk about certain things to other people. And this is really important to me. So here I do it, and then I release that shame, because I get over the judgment, I get over the secrecy that I'm holding, and over the silence that I'm holding. And I'm communicating it out there now. And I know the vibration is now exactly that part of my body that lets go of that holding pattern that I have. And shame ultimately is a limitation. It's a boundary to say, look, don't experience life beyond that. No? And it always affects the feminine principle, because the masculine is just trying to hold space for life, for the manifestation of life, for the feminine to show up and do her dance. And it makes us vulnerable. It opens us up. It really, it fucks us. And that's at least the feeling that we have. So can I hold space for that, was again and again my question. And yes, I did. And it was awesome. It was so awesome that I thought, you know what? Whatever, how I feel about it, I have to share it with you, because I think it's such a demonstration of how shame works. And most people that I have spoken to, that I have worked with around particular sexual shame or any physical shame associated with it, is like, I don't have any shame. No, I'm okay. I can. Yeah. And I have done a lot of stuff, particularly through my sexual education and so on. So for me to speak about sexuality and sexual issues, that has become a certain sense of normal. But really doing it, shame always, you cannot define shame, because it's just this liquid substance that lingers around places that you're not aware of. As you go from the conscious into the subconscious, there is a little bit of shame there, we know that, but then in the subconscious, it's all everywhere. And when you step in, it's like going into the water, and you find this, what are they called? And it stings you, right? And then you know, okay, now you're in it. And that's exactly the way how it is. And when you're in it, then can you hold yourself for it? Can you be a true masculine principle of holding space for that, what's now going to come, as the feminine principle starts to dance and creates that experience for you that you can experience here, like bringing heaven on earth, right? Bringing paradise right down here onto Mother Earth. That's what the feminine does for you. But we have to create a space and open up for her to drop that in, to sit down on us, and spin and dance for us so that we can experience it. And isn't that why we're all here? To create these human experiences in this world of a human world, with all the emotions that are associated with it, and of course, to be cleaned out, to be purified. That's what it takes. It's not just the good ones, but it's the tough ones as well. But the tough, they'll make you even tougher, and they'll make you purer in your form. Because remember, shame is just something that the mind has taken on to protect itself, that it doesn't become vulnerable. So, stepping into the shame, you have been in a growth and expansion zone. And now you need to deal with it. You need to hold space for yourself as much as I had to hold space for myself. That was my masculine principle. And then it married the feminine principle. It married the experience in that moment of that it could be fully felt. It could be fully experienced. And because I was able to allow myself to experience it in all its beauty, in all its power, in all its frustration and anger and rage and judgment and oh my God, I had the chance to really let it go, to heal it, and to get free from that. So, shame. It certainly is around there too, for you, in different areas of your life. But the way how you can only work with shame is when you're engaged into an experience, when you're engaged into the feminine, into an experience of life. Then you encounter shame, and then you're asked to hold space for it. So you go first into the feminine, allow the experience to come down, hold space, stay open for it, stay in your heart, stay authentic, and allow yourself to move with that without doing much. And when you hold that space and you get the full experience, then you're asked afterwards to process it with a lot more of masculinity in you, and also with a lot more of femininity, because it will be an ongoing process of experiencing whatever stages they are in that process of healing, of letting go, and to embody that all the way, every step of the way, not to jump the staircase all the way up to the top, but knowing that each stair on that flight of stairs has its meaning, has its purpose, has its qualities that we need to embody to truly end up being on the top flight of stairs. That's shame. I still have a little stone in my stomach now, and I'm still a little bit shaky now of having spoken out to that, but I feel much better. So I hope it was helpful for you. I hope it gives you empowerment and permission to engage with life's experiences where you encounter shame and set yourself free from them. So, because it only can survive, as I said, when you hold up judgment, when you're not talking about it, and when you keep that secret, right? The opposite from being intimate. When you hold that in your stomach. But if you speak it out, if you communicate it, you'll heal yourself with that. So I wish you luck, and let me know if it resonated with you and what your experiences of tapping into your shame really have brought up for you. Speak to you soon.